look at you, paying taxes every single month while politicians act like royalty. I want you to realize that political parties receive well over 1.5 billion rand every year straight out of our public bank accounts. They take money meant for your broken roads and non functional water pipes and split it amongst themselves based on how many seats they hold in parliament. You are literally funding the very people who ignore your daily struggles. We call this a plutocracy, which simply means a government controlled entirely by the wealthy elite instead of the everyday citizens who work hard to pay the bills. The African National Congress, the Democratic Alliance, and the Umkhonto weSizwe Party draw the biggest slices of this massive financial pie. They preach public service in front of the cameras, but when the broadcast ends, they operate like corporate boards, chasing profit margins and protecting private investors at your expense without any real accountability to you, the voter. Let's talk about where the rest of their money comes from when election time rolls around. Beyond our tax money, political parties are legally allowed to collect up to 30 million rand every year from a single wealthy donor or big corporation. When a company hands over millions of rand to a political organization, do you really believe that they do it out of kindness? Yeah, absolutely not. That cash purchase buys direct influence of the laws, contracts, and municipal tenders that govern your life. Before the upcoming local government elections in November, candidates from every party will knock on your door asking for your vote. But who do you think they actually listen to when making policy decisions? They listen to the rich corporate donors who paid for their slick posters and stadium rallies. You pay for their salaries, but private companies pay for their power, creating a system where public needs are constantly sold to the highest bidder. Now look closely at what is happening with our national debt while your household struggles to survive. Government keeps borrowing billions of dollars from international lenders, claiming it will fix our failing infrastructure and boost the economy. Yet, every year, your hard earned tax money goes straight toward paying interest on these massive foreign loans rather than fixing your neighborhood clinic. Why are we forced to pay higher fuel levies and value added tax just to settle debts that we never asked for or voted to accept? The truth is that politicians sign these loan agreements because the money flows straight into projects awarded to their business partners and corporate allies. They call this process financialization, which basically means turning basic human needs like water, power, and shelter into financial instruments for bankers to make money from. You end up bearing all the financial burden while political elites and their private sector friends pocket the profits without taking any personal risk. As we head toward the municipal elections in November, pay very close attention to how parties push privatization as a magical fix. Look at how the Democratic Alliance and Action SA are fiercely championing rolling out satellite technology like Starlink by bypassing local empowerment rules. Meanwhile, the ANC blocks or shapes these deals behind closed doors until their connected allies secure lucrative local tenders. They argue over regulations on camera, but both sides treat digital infrastructure like a private playground for big business rather than a public utility. Whether it is tech platforms or municipal water networks, politicians are eager to hand public assets over to international corporations. They claim private companies offer better efficiency, but in reality, every municipal contract handed to a corporate entity moves control from your local community. You lose your voice, service costs rise, and local municipal workers are slowly pushed out the door to make room for private contractor profit margins and corporate management fees. This push toward corporate takeover directly destroys South African jobs while hurting our local tax base. Big companies take over public contracts and immediately cut staff to boost profits, leaving local workers retrenched and struggling to feed their families. They often replace resident workers with underpaid foreign labor that operates outside the tax system, or they replace humans altogether with automated software systems. When a machine takes your job, that automated system pays zero income tax into the public treasury to support our local schools or clinics. Yet politicians from all major parties continue granting tax breaks and government tenders to these exact corporate entities. They allow foreign and local businesses to siphon wealth out of South African townships and cities straight into offshore bank accounts. Then you are left paying higher rates and taxes on your home to make up for the missing tax revenue, while corporations pay less and less while taking more and more from our local economy. So why do we keep paying taxes into a broken system that works against our own survival? When politicians take out massive international loans, they sign away our economic independence and bind our children to decades of debt service. That tax money does not build new local industries or even create sustainable jobs for our youth. It pays interest to foreign banks and enriches private contractors. Politicians sit on corporate boards or give lucrative municipal tenders to their close friends, creating a cycle where public wealth becomes private profit. You are working harder every single day just to stay afloat, while the money you hand over is used to subsidize corporate monopolies. We are told that paying taxes is our civic duty. But right now, our taxes are being weaponized to build a system where the working class owns nothing, while corporations and corrupt politicians collect reliable rents on every single part of our daily lives without giving anything back in return. This brings us to the bigger picture that tech billionaires like Elon Musk are pushing with universal basic income. They present monthly government handouts as a generous solution to mass unemployment caused by AI and automation. But you need to ask yourself what life actually looks like under that kind of digital surveillance state. When the state and giant corporations control all the technology, all the energy, all the land, a basic stipend just keeps you reliant on the exact institutions that stripped away your livelihood. You end up renting your home, renting your internet, and buying synthetic food that kills your body from corporate monopolies using a government grant that can be turned off if you step out of line. It creates a population of compliant citizens who own nothing, produce nothing, and have no real power over their lives. That is not freedom. That is a cage designed to keep you pacified while tech platforms monitor every single move you make in your life through taxes, the banks, and so many other institutions. As you prepare to mark your ballot in November, you have to decide if you will keep funding your own economic displacement. Will you allow politicians to continue acting as business brokers who trade away public services for private corporate donations? Or would you be willing to vote for an independent candidate that is not affiliated with any of these big political parties? We must demand total transparency on every loan signed every municipal tender awarded, and every cent spent from our public treasury. Your tax money should build local community strength, fund public infrastructure, and protect local jobs, not guarantee profits for private corporations and foreign banks. Stop letting political parties pretend that they are fighting for you while they share a 1.5 billion rand public allowance and take millions more behind closed doors. Look past the colorful campaign posters, question every policy that hands public power to private enterprise, and start demanding an economy that serves the people who actually build and fund this country every single day. The future of our democracy belongs to us, not them.